15.8%. By the end of December, the floor space of commercial buildings for sale was 589.23 million square meters, down by 15.3%. The funds in place for real estate development enterprises reached 15,605.3 billion yuan, up by 8.2%. Fifthly, market sales witnessed a steady growth and consumption has been upgraded. In 2017, the total retail sales of consumer goods reached 36,626.2 billion yuan, up 10.2%, 0.2 percentage points lower than last year. The retail sales of consumer goods by enterprises above designated sites stood at 16,061.3 billion yuan, up 8.1%. The retail sales in urban areas reached 31,429 billion yuan. Retail sales in rural areas stood at 5,197.2 billion yuan. The income of catering industry was 3,964.4 billion yuan, up 10.7%. Of goods, 32,661 billion yuan, up 10.2%. Retail sales of enterprises above designated size reached 15,886.1 billion yuan, up 8.2%. The telecommunication equipment, sports, recreational articles, and cosmetics increased by 11.7%, 15.6%, and 13.5%. In December, the growth of total retail sales of consumer goods was 9.4% year-on-year or 0.7% month-on-month. In 2017, online retail sales reached 7,175.1 billion yuan, up 32.2% year-on-year, 6 percentage points faster than last year, of which retail sales of physical goods was 5,480.6 billion yuan, up 28%, accounting for 15% of the total retail sales of consumer goods, or 2.4 percentage points higher than last year. The online retail sales of non-physical goods were 1,694.5 billion yuan, up by 48.1%.
6. Imports and exports continued to increase, with trade structure further improved. Relevant data were released a few days ago. The total value of imports and exports in 2017 was 27.791 trillion yuan, up by 14.2%, and in the two-year for exports increased by 10.8% and imports up by 18.7%. The trade balance was 2.8716 trillion yuan in surplus. General trade grew by 16.8%, accounting for 56.4% of the total trade value, 1.3 percentage point higher than previous year. Export of mechanical and electrical products grew by 12.1%, accounting for 58.4% of total exports, 0.7 percentage point higher than the previous year. And import exports in December was also released by the Bureau of Statistics a few days ago. Year-round consumer price went up by 1.6% over the previous year, 0.4 percentage point down from the previous year. Price went up by 1.7% in urban areas and up by 1.3% in rural areas. Year-round producer price increased by 6.3%, ending a 5-year fall since 2012. In December, the prices went up by 4.9% year-on-year or 0.8% month-on-month. 8. Growth of residents' income sped up, and rural income grew faster than urban income. In 2017, the national per capita disposable income was 25,974 yuan, a nominal growth of 9% over last year, or real increase of 7.3% after deducting price factors 1 percentage point higher than the previous year. In terms of permanent residents, the per capita disposable income of urban residents was 36,396 yuan, a real growth of 6.5%, after deducting price factors. That of rural residents was 13,432 yuan, a real increase of 7.3% after deducting price factors. The per capita urban income was 2.71 times of the rural, which was 0.01 less than last year. The median of the national disposable income was 22,408 yuan, a nominal increase of 7.3%. By income quantiles, per capita income of the low-income group reached 5,958 yuan, the lower middle income group 13,843 yuan, the middle income group 22,495 yuan, the upper middle income group 34,547 yuan, and the high-income group 64,934 yuan. In 2017, the national per capita consumption expenditure was 18,322 yuan, a nominal increase of 71%, or a real increase of 5.4% after deducting price factors. The number of rural migrant workers in 2017 totaled 286.52 million, an increase of 4.81 million or 1.7%. Specifically, the number of local migrant workers was 114.67 million, up by 2%, and the outside migrant workers numbered 17.85 million, up by 1.5%. The average monthly income of migrant workers was 3,485 yuan, up by 6.4%. 9. Supply-side structural reforms deepened with new progress made in transformation and upgrade. The efforts of cutting overcapacity, reducing inventory, deleveraging, lowering costs, and strengthening weak links have achieved solid results. The industries of steel and coal have hit the targets of capacity cut in 2017. National capacity utilization rate was 77%, reaching a 5-year high. Inventories of commercial buildings continued to fall, and at the end of December, the floor space of commercial buildings for sale was 106.16 million square meters, less than at the end of 2016. Leverage ratio of industrial enterprises continued to go down. At the end of November, the asset liability ratio of industrial enterprises about designated size was 55.8%, 0.5 percentage point lower than the same period last year. For the first 11 months, the cost per 100 yuan turnover of principal activities of industrial enterprises above the designated size was 85.26 yuan, 0.28 yuan less over the same period last year. Investment in weak areas grew rapidly. The investment in ecological protection and treatment, environmental pollution management, water conservancy, and agriculture went up respectively by 23.9%, 16.4%, and 16.4%. Innovation-driven development continued to gain momentum, and the new driving growth forces grew fast. The number of newly registered enterprises nationwide was 6.074 million, up by 9.9% over last year. Areas like space, aviation, artificial intelligence, deep-sea exploration, and biomedicine saw the emergence of a range of major achievements. New industries and products thrived. The value added of industrial strategic emerging industries went up by 11%, 4.4 percentage points faster than that of industries above the designated size. The output of industrial robots went up by 68.1%, new energy vehicles up by 51.1%. The economic structure continued to improve. In 2017, the value added of the tertiary industry contributed 58.8% of GDP growth, 1.3 percentage points higher over the previous year. Consumption was the premier driver of growth. Final consumption expenditure contributed 58.8% of GDP growth, 26.7 percentage points higher than gross capital formation. Notable progress was made in green development. Energy consumption per 10,000 yuan of GDP was down by 3.7% over the previous year. 10. Population increased steadily with rising urbanization rate. By the end of 2017, the total population of the Chinese mainland was 1.39008 billion, an increase of 7.37 million over the end of 2016. Total number of births was 17.23. Birth rate was 12.43 in 1,000. The number of deaths was 9.86 million, with a death rate of 7.11 in 1,000. Natural growth rate was 5.32 in 1,000. In terms of gender, the male population was 711.37 million, and the female population was 678.71 million. The gender ratio of the total population was 104.81. Population at working age of 16 to 59 was 901.99 million. accounting for 64.9% of the total population. Population aged 60 and over was 240.9 million, which was 17.3% of the total population. Among them, population aged 65 and over was 158.31 million, accounting for 11.4% of the total population. In terms of urban-rural structure, the usual residents in urban areas was 813.47 million, an increase of 20.49 million over the end of 2016. And the usual residents in rural areas was 576.61 million, a decrease of 13.12 million. The proportion of the urban population to the total population was 58.52%, 1.17 percentage points higher than the end of the previous year. The population who reside in areas other than their household registration and have been away from there for over 6 months was 291 million, which was 0.98 million less than that in the last year. Specifically, the floating population was 244 million. At the end of 2017, the total number of the employed was 776.4 million, and the number of the urban employed was 424.62 million. Generally speaking, China's economy in 2017 maintained a steady and positive momentum. With its overperformance exceeding expectation, we took a solid step toward victory of building a moderately prosperous society. However, we should also be aware of the many difficulties and challenges in the economy and fully recognize the arduous nature of pursuing quality and efficiency. We should rally closer around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, follow the guidance of the Xi Jinping thoughts on socialism and Chinese characteristics for a new era, and earnestly implement the guiding principle of the 19th CPC National Congress and the Central Economic Work Conference. We should stick to the general approach of seeking progress and maintaining stability, uphold the new development philosophy, bear in mind the shift in principal contradiction in Chinese society. We should pursue quality development, promote economic, political, cultural, social, and ecological progress in parallel, and implement the four-pronged comprehensive strategy in a coordinated way. We should continue to deepen supply-side structural reform and coordinate efforts to ensure growth, advance reform, adjust structure, improve livelihood, and guard against risks. We should resolutely guard against and resolve major risks, advance targeted poverty alleviation, and fight pollution, so as to ensure sustained and sound economic and social development. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Ning. I've seen many foreign journalists here today. We will have simultaneous interpretation for the whole conference.
There you go. That was China's State Council Information Office holding its annual press conference on the state of the country's economy. Well, to analyse some of this economic data, let's speak to Chen Jiahe, the Chief Strategist from Cinda Securities, who joins us via Skype. Thank you for joining us today. So this year's GDP showed a 6.9 increase, which was higher than expected. So given that data we just heard now, what do you think about China's economic performance overall in 2017?
Well, I think it's pretty amazing and pretty good because you have to think about a few things. First of all, 6.9 growth is pretty fast. I mean, it's pretty fast data. It's not like China was growing like 10, 12%, but almost 7% is still one of the highest around the global economy. Second is that apparently Chinese economy has been developed compared with like 10 years ago. Apparently, if you go to Shanghai, you can hardly tell the difference between like Shanghai and New York, from the outlook. So China has reached a pretty high level, still maintaining at something like 6.9% growth rate. Also, another important thing is that China was facing a pretty huge property bubble, I would say, especially in first-tier cities like in Shanghai or Beijing. So this was a very dangerous thing, but apparently looks like we have successfully controlled this property market. So this 6.9 growth is pretty amazing, I would say, and this overall smooth development of the economy is quite good.
In terms of people's livelihood, though, we've seen housing prices stay high compared to salary levels, haven't we? We've also seen people shift their buying habits towards online shopping, Taobao and the like. How do you see these trends impacting the general economic situation?
Well, regarding the housing price, China has a huge housing price in first-tier cities, especially Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Hangzhou, these cities. But these cities count about 10% of the population. But if you go to the second-tier, third-tier cities like Kunming or Chongqing, the property price is not very high over there. If you go to the rural area, people own their own houses. They don't have to buy. They were allocated with their houses. So this housing bubble is not an overall bubble. It's a very special bubble in first-tier cities. So yes, it is high, and people can't really afford that in first-tier cities, but this is not an overall problem. When we see that online shopping, this has been increased dramatically. My family has been buying over 1,000 online shopping goods. They have only lost one of the bags. This is quite amazing. This has become a very huge industry. In economy, we call this something like the late commerce benefit, that United States has already got enough supermarkets, but China didn't have that much supermarkets, and we have been able to build the online shopping. So this is a strong engine for the economy right now.
What about employment conditions? How have they improved in 2017, do you think?
I think that's really thanks to the online shopping, this new economy, that a lot of people has been able to find jobs in online shopping. I have been talking also like Didi Taxi, these kind of things, the online economy. I have been talking to people who ever want to find a job. They can very easily find a job with good pay as long as they can work hardly. The gap between the hard labor and the educated people is also reducing. So I would say the employment condition is pretty fine for the moment.
Okay, Chen Jiahe, thank you very much indeed for that. Well, that's it from the world today. Some heavy business analysis for you, but I'll leave you in the capable hands of Peter Caveus, who will bring you up to date with the latest sport. He's coming up next. Bye-bye.